Jack cried out in abject terror, and I thought I heard the sound of some sort of scuffle. "Please, no!" he yelled, his voice cracking. The scuffle continued for several seconds and seemed to move away from the phone. Then he was speaking again, but no longer to me, to someone else. His voice was faint, but I could make it out easily enough. He said 6 words. 6 simple words that made my heart lurch and my whole world totter. They were the first 2 lines of my address. Then Jack let out a short, desperate scream, and it sounded like he was being pulled away from the phone. There followed a succession of gasping coughs, and instinctively even I, who'd lived my life a long way from the indignities of death, could tell that my old friend was dying. And then everything fell eerily silent. The silence might have lasted 10 seconds, but was probably nearer 2. And as I stood frozen to the spot in my front room, mouth open, too shocked to know what to say or do, I heard the line suddenly go dead at the other end. The first 2 lines of my address. The place where I lived an ordinary suburban life with my 2 kids and my wife of 9 years. The place where I felt safe. For a moment, just one moment, I thought it must have been some sort of practical joke, a cruel ruse to get a reaction. But the thing was, I hadn't spoken to Jack Callie in 4 long years, and the last time had been a chance meeting in the street, a snatched 5-minute conversation while the kids, much younger then, Max just a baby, shouted and fidgeted in their twin pushchair. I hadn't had a proper chat with him, you know, the kind friends have, in, 5, 6, maybe even 7 years. We'd gone our separate ways a long time ago. No, this was serious. You don't put fear like that into your voice deliberately. It's a natural thing, something that's got to come from within, and this most definitely had. Jack had been terrified, and with good reason. If I wasn't mistaken, and I would swear to God that I wasn't, I'd just heard him breathe his dying breaths, and his last words were the first 2 lines of my address. Who wanted to know where I lived, and why? Let me tell you this. I'm an ordinary man with an ordinary desk job in a big open-plan office, leading a team of 4 IT software salesmen. It's not a huge amount of fun, and, as I've already suggested, my boss, Wesley, is something of an arsehole. But it pays the bills and allows me to own a half-reasonable detached 4-bed house in the suburbs. And at 35, I've never once been in trouble with the boys in blue. My wife and I have had our ups and downs, and the kids can play up now and again, but in general, we're happy. Kathy works as a lecturer in environmental politics over at the university, a job she's held for close to 10 years. She's well-liked, good at what she does, and, although she probably wouldn't like me saying so, very pretty. We're the same age, we've been together 11 years, and we have no secrets. We've done nothing wrong, we pay our taxes, and we keep out of trouble. In short, we're just like everyone else. Just like you. So why did some stranger want to know our address? Some stranger who wanted it so badly he was prepared to kill for it. Fear kicked in. That intense terror that starts somewhere in the groin and tears through you like an express train until it's infected every part and is ready to develop into outright panic. The instinctive flight mechanism. The sick feeling you get when you're walking empty streets alone at night and you hear footsteps coming from behind. Or when a man smashes a beer glass on the corner of a bar and demands to know what the fuck you think you're looking at. Real fear. I had it then. I replaced the phone in its cradle and stood where I was for a long moment, trying to think of a rational explanation for what I'd just heard. Nothing presented itself, and yet at the same time, even the most paranoid explanation didn't make sense either. If someone wanted to speak to me, then they presumably knew who I was, in which case they could easily have found out where I lived without asking a man who barely knew me anymore. They could have looked in the phone book for a start, but they hadn't. "Daddy, Max just hit me for no reason." It was Chloe coming back into the house, grass stains on the knees of her jeans, her dark blonde hair a tousled mess. At 5, she was little more than a year older than her brother Max, yet vastly more sensible.